this another video. Hope this will be very useful, and those of you that are not sure yet how to start creating the base feature of a solid model such as this here, which has a number of steps trying to create this shape. I'm going to start from scratch and show you how to start with a base feature and the importance of plane, how to select the datum plane so that the orientation of this solid models will be properly positioned, especially when we go to mechanical drawing. And in mechanical drawing, I'm going to show you that as well. And those of you that are not comfortable yet with the mechanical drawing for Engineering 151 class, please just take some time and review this few times and try to do the assignment yourself first, and then when you are stuck or you're not being able to continue, watch this video and this should help you. Okay, and let me just tell you that this here, these menus here are really important. Watch for this. And this part here, we have the datum display filter. Then we're going to use this frequently. The orientation, for example, if I wanted to look at the front view, that's a front view. The top view, that's the orientation for the top view, and this is the right side view. Okay, so we know that now we have to pay attention to orientation. And if we wanted to turn off the shade, we can go to no hidden. So that's what we have here. Okay, and in some situation you need to have a you need to click on refit. So for example, if your model is not really is off the screen, and you click on refit, it's going to come to the center of the screen. Okay, and then this is this area, we call it the model tree. And temporary, I'm going to close that so we have no distraction. All right, so let's just do this. We go to new, and we're going to give the file name, which is chapter 6 tutorial 1. Okay, great. And then we click on OK, and it says you already have tutorial 1 created already. And we're going to just say, don't worry about it. We're going to just say tutorial 1A, for example. Okay, now we have this working area, and I'm going to turn the display on. Okay, those are the 3 planes of projection: the front, the top, and the right. So I'm going to click on extrude, and then want to click on placement, define, and you see this menu pops up. So this menu will help us to understand that the sketching plane for the base feature, for example, if I click on the front, that will be the sketching plane, and the reference and orientation will be automatically defined. Okay, so this is done, and we're going to click on a sketch, and then we go back here and we click on a sketch view. So we have a we convert the 3D datum plane to 2D temporarily, like that. And then to be able to have a clear area or picture, we're going to just temporarily hide all this display. Okay, all right. So it's a good idea to place a center line on that reference axis. The blue dashed line, we call it reference axis. So we can just use the rectangle, and we're going to stretch it until we see this symmetric symbol in here. So we're going to give a double click on that light blue dimension, which we call it the weak dimension. We're going to give a dimension of 69. And if you see that here, it says the light, it's a weak dimension, double click, and the dimension for that should be 40. Okay, 40. All right, and that is good to go. And one thing as a preparation, we need to give a dimension from this edge to the center line 50, that later on we're going to use that as a plane and right side plane, which we are going to place a rib. and using the rep profile. Okay, all right, so let's just quickly create a circle in here, and automatically you see that this dimension is going to be popped up, which is 8, light blue dimension. We call it 18, and this dimension diameter of the circle is, double click on it, and you don't have to erase it, you just say 16 on top of it. And then this one here, we say that's a 22. Okay, 22. Those are the measurements or dimension that are you have to be very careful how to enter the dimension, and it should position the circle with respect to the x-axis and the y-axis. All right, everything is good to go. And then we're gonna give a depth of 10. Okay, the thickness is 10, and you can see that this is our first solid model, where we call it a base feature. All right, so as soon as I click on this to confirm that this is complete, and if you look at the model tree, you can see that the first extrude, and that also we can just look at the orientation, we say that's a front. Okay, great. Now for the second feature, make sure you turn on the display. Okay, we're gonna just have only the plane display. All right, so in order to create the second extrude, because most of you probably ask me these questions, how can I use this orientation so I can create a second feature for this solid model? Just do this, click on the top datum plane in here or here. Okay, top datum plane. Please differentiate between the top face and top datum plane. Okay, all right, so click on top datum plane, then you click on extrude, and then you say sketch view, and turn off the plane, turn off the shade for clarity, and please use the references, because that would, we can snap, and our cursor will snap to the edges that we want. Okay, those are the edges. That's a very nice things to do. Solve, close. And if you wanted to move your sketch up and down, you hold the shift and middle click, you can move your sketch up and down, so you can work in this area here down below. And let me just close the model tree, and then we're going to use the line chain. Okay, so that measurement should be 78. Okay, 78. 78. And if you want to move the dimension a little bit, just grab that dimension and pull it to the side. Okay, and line, so you can just have this line, which is about 38. Okay, 38, and then we can go up from here. That is no dimension. Okay, do not worry about that. We can just use the curve or 3-point arc, and then this measurement, the radius should be 31 according to a specification given. And in order to see the shade, pink shade in here, because the sketch is incomplete, we need to close the the gap or the loop. Now we see let me see if okay. All right, so maybe all right, one more time, we're gonna just do the line from there to here. It should give us the pink shade. Okay, maybe I just had a double line or overlapping, that's why it didn't it did not display this pink shade. So let's go back to the shading, and now we look at this here, the second extrude, and check. Make sure you give the thickness of 10, and that looks good. Okay, it seems like that's the proper positioning, and everything is good to go, and we say check. All right, so next we're gonna create to create the third feature, we click on this surface here and we say extrude. All right, so for clarity, again, that's a habit. Okay, you got just used to this. Okay, no hidden, and then you click on references and click on this and this here, and we're going to have I'm going to use rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to use a rectangle, and then we're going to have a dimension from, and that's a dimension symbol, and from the top to this point here should be 75. Okay, 75, and I will use semicircle or arc, trying to create an arc, and then we delete this line here, and there is one more line in here we need to get rid of. So when we do that, we do some trimming, we need to redimension it, okay? So be patient and redimension this to the center, and that's a 75. And the reason we have this light blue dimension, because there's the point of tangency is missing, okay? We go to tangent, click on the curve, click on this line. Now we see that this light blue disappear, okay? Great. All right, everything is good to go, and the radius of this semicircle should be 18 or 19. Let me just check. It says 19. Okay, we don't need that. We already know that that's 19. Undo, and we go back to the shading, and we know it. Always hold the middle click, press it down, and then drag the mouse so that you know where you're at. Okay, so and then forward, if you press on a middle click or just the wheel, or middle click we call it, just with middle finger, so just push it forward and backward. See, backward, forward, so you can zoom in and out. Okay, zoom in and out. And also you can hold the shift and middle click, you can relocate your part, okay, or your sketch. All right, so do you see that here? And if you wanted to zoom it quickly, hold the control down and hold the middle click so you can zoom in and out quickly, like just that. So your left hand should be on the keyboard and right hand on the mouse. So everything is good to go, and now we have to give a thickness of 10, and click on the arrow. So you reverse the arrow. Now we have this piece attached to here. All right, so accept. Now the third feature, I'm going to create again using extrude on this surface here, and all I have to do is sketch view, and in order to define the center of the existing semicircle, we need to give assign reference. So let me just go to references, click on this curve. It will define the center for the existing arc. So we say that's fine. I'm going to click on a circle, so this will be a concentric circle. You will see it says equal. Okay, it should say equal. And then when it says equal, just turn the shade back on. It's right there, and then you click on a OK, and then you go to options. Okay, just make sure you click on options. It gives you the two-sided cylinder. Okay, the cylinder two-sided, and make sure it's blind. Okay, and then the first side is 12, and then we click on the second side, we say blind, and then we enter 13. Okay, that's the measurement, and we are happy. Everything is nicely done. Look at that. Okay, tiny bit is sticking out because that's a distance of 13 on this side. Okay, from this surface, and from this surface here to here is 12 measurement. There we go. So we're gonna go check, and next we need to poke a hole on this cylinder here, and make sure you reactivate or turn on the datum axis. Okay, axis display, very important point, that when we have this axis display, a lot of people say, well, I don't have the axis. I say, but you have to go and turn it on, because you turn it off or you hide it. So then we use the hole tool. We drop the hole tools on this surface. Okay, then after that, first you drop that, then you can just grab that and push it to the side, and that dimension is 16. Because I've done this several times, so it just in the memory it says 16, which is true. Okay, if it's not, you just say 16. Okay, you just drop. Now that you know the diameter of the hole, hold the control down on your keyboard. You see that you click on the axis, the datum axis. Now the hole is poked through that and intersect with all surfaces. If you want to intersect with all surfaces, just click on this here, say intersect, and drill to intersect with all surfaces. Okay, there we go. And that is what we wanted. Everything is good to go. Next, I'm going to create a round. So in order to make the part stronger, or to have a, in terms of materials properties, we use fillet radius or round to increase the strength of this part so that upon the impact it will not snap. So I'm going to go to round and click on this line here, or edge. Click on that, and it's supposed to be 15, which is already there, and I'm going to say I'm happy. Okay, and then you click on underneath here, and that's a round, and this time we wanted a 5. Okay, radius of 5, and everything is good to go, and there we go. So we have the round. Outside round is 15, radius of 15, and then the underneath is 5. Okay, hope you have followed up to this point. The good things about this video is that you can always pause and then go back and see if you missed something. You can just catch up with it. Okay, all right. So hopefully this will be a good practice for those of you in class that you're falling behind, or from chapter 2 to chapter 4 you did not get that much information, or you just went too fast and you didn't understand what the overall picture was. Now by now you should have more understanding of what Creo parametric can do, and all these tabs or icon or command, it's there for you to use it, to utilize it in a correct way. Okay, in a correct way. You just cannot just click and close your eyes and say some miracle will happen. It will not happen. In education, you got to think, you got to have a good thought process to make sure that the future product, or when you get to the end of this solid model or the product you're making, it's going to be in a good shape, good standing, and it has a good value. So please just be patient. You will learn this, because I've been doing this for many years, and I've seen students that were slow, and eventually I saw that they caught up, and then they were going faster, and then they got the job at the top company. So please be patient. Do not really give up, and no disappointment. And engineering students should not really say, oh, I cannot do this. Yes, you can do it. Okay, all right. Next, I'm going to show you how to create a rib profile. This is a tedious part. Okay, this part will be tedious. Before we do that, the prerequisite for that will be the plane. Okay, we need to turn on the plane. And remember, when I created the base feature, I said, remember, we have to give a dimension of 50, and that dimension, it seems like I picked the one that is supposed to be here, and that is not correct. Okay, that's not correct. It's supposed to be 19 from here, from this distance here, which is not true. That's right, they don't play. Okay, that would be a good thing that it happen always. Okay, let me go back. If that didn't work, we're gonna go back to the base feature, and this will be a good practice to say, how can I go back to the base? First, extrude. We go to edit definition, placement, edit, and this is sketch view. And this dimension here, I forgot to give this dimension, so yeah, I forgot. So I'm going to dimension from here to this center. That will be supposed to be 50. Let me remove the symmetric, and then it will allow me to enter 50. Okay, 50. So 50 plus 19, because this is 19. See that we don't need it, but it's going to tell us that from this edge to there, that should be 19. Okay, which we don't need it. All right, so I'm happy. I'm gonna check and go back here and display, And these are the good things, that when we make mistakes or we forget something, we can always go back to the extrude. When your extrude is, step by step, extrude 1, extrude 2, extrude 3, 4, and then we drill a hole on this here, and then we have a round number 1, round number 2. Everything is there. You just click on it, it will highlight green on this solid model. Okay, so now I have the plane, and that plane I was looking for that goes through the center of the hole, and that's the right datum plane. Now we're gonna go here under the rib, RIB, rib. We're gonna pick or select the profile rib, and then we say sketch view. Okay, be patient on this one. Okay, all right, so we're gonna turn off the plane for clarity and the axis, we don't need it. Turn off the shade. Okay, turn off the shade by saying no hidden. Okay, you see the picture is a lot clearer than when there is a shade. Okay, do not forget references. Okay, all right, so we go to references. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's very important. We don't need the references here. You can, it doesn't hurt. You can just put the references there. Solve, close. Okay. Next, I'm going to be using offset. Okay, I'm going to be using offset quickly, and if the arrow is pointed downward, you just enter -10 as offset. So because we want the line above this line here. In some situation, I've seen that the arrow is pointed upward, then don't enter -10, just enter 10 in the direction of the arrow. Click on the curve, and then you enter 10 because it's in the direction of the arrow. Okay, 10. Next, we're going to have a line connected from the end of that arc and coincident with this horizontal line. Okay, then I'm gonna just stretch the line horizontally, and then I'm gonna trim. Okay, as soon as I use the trim, this line will be trimmed with respect to this reference line. See that? If I trim that, it trimmed all the way up to this intersection here. All right, so great. Next, I'm going to use the 3-point arc. 3-point arc, and it will help us to create arc which should be tangent. See that? Just move them until you see the point of tangency. Yes. Okay, so you see this is a point of tangency, or this is the tangent symbol, and then you can give the dimension for that arc, the radius of 25. Now be careful here, because we won't be able to extrude, because in this situation, if you say extrude, it's gonna say, oh, section is incomplete. Do you want to exit a sketcher? No. All right, I just wanted to show you that you may run into that. All right, so because it's not done yet, we need to do a little bit of modification to be able to have it ready for extrude. So you see this, we use the offset. That line is just a temporary line. Make sure you delete this line and quickly replace it with actual line. Okay, just replace it with actual line. And also, when you click on the middle click, you press it once or twice if you wanted to invoke the command that you have already used, or invoke the command you wanted to terminate that command. You press on middle mouse button twice. Okay, you press that twice. Okay, great. So I replaced this with the actual line. You see that? If you hover over the line and it says, okay, this is a line, yes, and this is an arc, yes, we know that. So next we go delete. Let me zoom that a little bit so you see that. Be careful when you're trimming. So that is perfect. And then I'm going to use 3-point arc. Okay, that's a 3-point, and start from the end of this line, and then you just follow the path until you get to the end of this. And now we have a tangent entity. Okay, tangent and this symbol, these two symbols, they complete each other. Okay, this and this guy here. All right, so and now we have one more thing here. As soon as I delete this line, because it's not an actual line, it's an offset edge, so this point of tangency will disappear. So you got to be patient. You have to watch very carefully. You have to make it tangent again. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Oops, see how this disappear. So we're gonna go to constraint. These are the important area called constraint, such as point of tangency or tangent, and symmetric, equal, midpoint, coincident, parallel. Okay, and those are them, and also perpendicular. I don't use perpendicular a lot. And parallel, yes. Equal all the time, tangent all the time, symmetric all the time, vertical and horizontal. It's also very useful. Okay, very useful. So let me just go to tangent and then click on with the left mouse. Okay, select the curve, select the line. See that all the light blue dimension disappeared because we made this curve tangent to this. All right, everything is good to go. And I'm going to go back to the shading, and that is the profile, rib profile on this plane, which we call it the right datum plane. All right, so I think everything is good to go, and I'm going to click on check. And now we're going to give it thickness of the rib, which is 10, and that is our final work for the rib profile. And I know it's going to be tedious for you. Make sure you watch this and then repeat and repeat until you get used to it. And there we go. Okay, so this is the complete solid model, and hope you got some good learning curve, or you got the ideas of how to create a solid model using Creo parametric. And we're using Creo parametric 6.0, and you could also use any other Creo parametric, but for our purpose that we have 6.0, why not? That's an up-to-date software, 6.0. So then you can look at the list of in a model tree, all the steps that we went through to get to this destination. You have extrude 1, extrude 2, extrude 3, 4, and so on. So there we go. So that, and then the round 1, round 2 hole, which was this hole we created, and then the profile rib. Okay, and if you want to maybe color it, you can always do that. Say if I wanted to just use red, I say the front. If this is the front view, hold the control in order to select multiple surfaces. You hold the control down and you say, okay, that is the front view, and maybe that's a front view. All right, so no problem. And then I'm gonna just look and just say this is the top. Hold the control down, and maybe we see this from the top view, and we say okay. And also if you go back to the red, and we might say okay, I might see this, and say no problem. And then the right side view, I'm gonna use blue color so that this is the right side, and maybe I will use again the green to click on that. All right, so everything is good to go. And let's see if there is anything else is missing. I don't think so. And that's your final work. And then on next video I will show you how to create mechanical drawing on this